Hi everyone, it's Phil Frost from Main Street ROI, and I want to welcome you to today's presentation about the 5 steps to get your business ranking on the first page of Google. All right, we have some housekeeping to get out of the way here. If you're new to GoToWebinar, I want to let you know that there's a questions box. It should be in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You can type in questions, and I will address those as they come in. Let me get that set up. Okay, I now have the questions box open on my window. Also recommend everyone turn off any distractions like email, instant messenger, Facebook, or YouTube. You'll just get the most out of this if you're not also trying to check your email. And before we get started, I have a quick poll, or a couple quick polls here, just to see who's on today. Let me launch that. So on your screen, you should see a question. Are you currently working with an SEO agency or consultant? And answers are yes, no, or we are an agency, or I am a consultant. We actually find that a lot of agencies and consultants join these trainings. I see most people have answered 88% no, 13% yes, and it doesn't look like any agencies or consultants are on today. Actually up to 90% no. Let me close that out. Second question here, just to get a sense for the size of your SEO campaigns. Hopefully you can see that on your screen. Looks like some folks are answering now. You can see just the different budgets for your SEO, how much you're investing each month. Looks like majority here, close to 60% less than $500 a month, and 25% in the $1,000 to $2,000 range, and 17% more than $3,000. So pretty big SEO accounts there. Let me close that out. And the last question, then we'll move on. Hopefully I set this up correctly. This is to get a feel for what are the different marketing channels you're using. So are you investing in Google AdWords, advertising, Facebook ads, email marketing, social media, or other? And if you do select other, just type what it is that you are doing into the Q&A box. And if I set this up correctly, you should be able to select more than one. If I didn't set up correctly, I apologize. Sometimes it will only let you select one. All right, looks like we've got a lot of folks on the line using Google AdWords advertising, about 60%, 46% using Facebook advertising, close to 70% are using email marketing, which is good to see. Actually a great tactic for most businesses. And then 50% using social media, 15% using other, and I did see an answer here from Beth. She's using partnerships, exchanging blog posts, and ad space. All right, let me close that out, and we will get back to the presentation. You should see my screen now, what we're going to cover. Important Google updates. So I'll walk through some of the important Google updates that you need to know that lays the foundation for SEO. If you don't have that basic understanding, it makes SEO a lot more difficult. I'll walk through 3 what I call old school SEO tactics you need to avoid. These are old tactics that will get you into trouble, but unfortunately some businesses are still using them. I'll walk through 2 tactics you can use to get ranked high in Google in as little as 30 days. I'll walk through the 5 steps, the 5 rules to follow. And I do have a special offer at the end for all the attendees to help you get started today. Now, if this is your first Main Street ROI presentation, you're wondering, who am I? Why should you listen to me? Again, my name is Phil Frost. I'm the founder of Main Street ROI. And our business provides digital marketing services like SEO, search engine optimization, as well as online advertising in Google AdWords, Facebook, and Bing. And we also provide email marketing services. In addition to providing services, we provide training to businesses as well, the businesses that want to do this themselves or have an in-house team. And we provide a lot of free training like this webinar today. We also provide more in-depth training paid courses that you can find on our site, mainstreetroi.com/training. You'll see a big list of all the trainings that we've done. And then we even have more in-depth what we call master classes that really dive deep into a particular tactic. One that we have coming up is AdWords Mastery. That actually starts June 7th. And that's where we go through really step-by-step exactly how to set up, manage, and scale a Google AdWords campaign. To date, we've helped over 2,000 businesses with their digital marketing, and my thought leadership has been featured in Forbes, Inc., Amex, as well as Mashable. And I'm also the very proud father of these kids here. We've got Violet on the left. She's just over 4 years old. My beautiful wife, Erin, in the middle. That is me next to Erin. And that is my chubby son, Emmett, on the right. This is actually taken on his second-year birthday party in early April on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. That's where we live. And this was a restaurant near our apartment. All right, I mentioned I want to give a brief history of Google as well as the updates to really lay the foundation for SEO. It's really important to understand this. It makes it a lot easier to understand the core concepts involved with search engine optimization. So way back in the day, there was a search engine called Alta Vista. And if you're older, you may remember this. And if you're younger, be happy that you didn't have to deal with this search engine. Basically, the very simple search engine. SEO was very easy. It was easy to get your website to rank high because really all the search engine was looking at was the words on the page. So the way you would get a website to rank high, you would just put that keyword phrase on your page a lot of times, specifically more times than your competitors, and your page would likely rank high. Now, that was very easy from an SEO standpoint, but it also meant that the search results were pretty bad and they were full of spam. I personally remember you could do just a regular search and some totally irrelevant websites would show up, and even in certain cases, porn sites would be ranking #1 for just totally irrelevant search phrases. And then Google entered the market. This is back around 1998, and they came with a little tweak to the algorithm. So they're not just looking at the words on your site, they were also looking at other websites that were linking to your website. And it's basically, you can think of a link to your website like a vote in your favor. And if you have a lot of votes, then it's like a popularity contest. If you have more votes, you will rise higher in the search results. That's obviously an overly simplified version of Google's algorithm, but that's what it's based on. At the core, the algorithm is using links to determine which websites are more popular and deserve to be on the first page of Google ranked high. So again, that's an overly simplified version, but it's really important to understand that that's how the algorithm was built. They're not just looking at words on the page because it's easy to just put more words, put the keyword on the page and get your site to rank high. Google figured that out, and to weed out all of that spam in the search results, what they did was they also looked at how many other sites were basically voting for that site or linking to that site. And when they did that, the search results got cleaned up. They were actually, pretty much the best way to find something online was to Google it. So Google became the #1 search engine, and as you can tell, they really have been #1 ever since. And here's the last point I want to make. It's a really key takeaway. Google depends on the advertising revenue in their search results. It's a little known fact here, or maybe it's not little known anymore. It used to be a little known that Google, the vast majority of their revenue actually comes from people clicking on the ads in their search results. And I think it's little known because when I talk to businesses, they think no one actually clicks on ads. But that's obviously not true, because Google is where it is today, and they drive so much revenue because people are clicking on those ads. And the reason people click on those ads and they keep coming back to Google is because their search results are so good. They have the best search results, so people go to Google to find the information that they need. So with that in mind, any spam, any websites that don't really deserve to be on the first page of Google, that's a huge threat to Google's entire business. Because if someone does a search in Google and clicks on a website and it's just not relevant and it doesn't answer their question, that gets them annoyed. I know personally I get annoyed by that. They have to click back and maybe refine their search and potentially waste more time trying to figure out the question they're trying to answer. So that's frustrating. And if people get frustrated using Google, they're going to leave Google and go use Bing or some other search engine, and then that search engine is going to get the ad revenue. So that's Google's mindset. They need to make sure their search results are the best they can possibly be, or else they're going to lose revenue. So it makes a lot of sense. That's why they hire the smartest people, some of the smartest people around, to work on their algorithm and continually, day after day, fight spam and try to weed out anything that doesn't deserve to be on the first page. All right, so with that in mind, over the years, Google has updated their algorithm. It wasn't perfect when they started. Obviously, they've had to make a lot of tweaks, and then as more and more people try to kind of hack Google and get their site to rank high where they don't deserve to rank high, Google figures out ways to update their algorithm and weed out those bad websites. So here's some important updates to keep in mind. They released the Panda update not too long ago, and the whole goal there was to remove websites that gave a bad user experience. So what does that mean? That means the navigation might not be very clear on the website. It might have poorly written content. That's a big one. So if you don't have really good content, you don't have an easy to navigate website, that will hurt you and hurt your chances of ranking high because of this Panda update. Next update here was the Penguin update. This relates to the point I made earlier about how Google's algorithm was built around looking at how many websites are linking to your website. And once you understand that, then you realize that to rank high in Google, you need to get other websites to link to you. Well, a lot of businesses took that to the extreme, and what they did was they artificially inflated the number of links that they had by creating their own network of websites that would then link to their website. So that actually happened. It sounds a little bit crazy when you think about it, but that's what people did, and it actually worked for a while. People would basically build, let's say, 5 blogs, and then those blogs would then link to their main website, and that would build up the number of links that they have. Google would look at that and say, hey, this is a popular website, it deserves to rank high. Ultimately, Google figured out a way to find out if basically those websites were created by the actual business, and they weren't real links They were just artificially created links. And that was with the Penguin update, and that was to remove over-optimized websites that really don't deserve to be number one. Those are just people artificially inflating their links. Third update here is Google+. Google+ came around. This was Google's response to Facebook. Facebook is the number one social media site, and Google launched Google+, and then they took it down. Basically, they stopped investing in it. They didn't take it down, but they didn't put any more resources into it. And then they recently relaunched it, and they're trying to make a bigger push. And really, the point here, key takeaway, is that social media and social media signals, I believe, in the future will play a role in SEO. So that's something to just be on the lookout for. And last but not least is the Hummingbird update, which was a critical change to Google's algorithm. They overhauled their whole algorithm, the way it was built, and it can now understand context and synonyms. And I'll get to an old school tactic in a minute that relates directly to this update. But just keep in mind that Google now understands if you type in best food nearby, Google can translate that because they know you're really looking for restaurants nearby. So that's actually for a human, that's very easy to understand. Best food nearby makes sense. But for a computer algorithm, that's actually hard to interpret. You have to figure out that what that person is really looking for is nearby restaurants close to their physical location. And with the Hummingbird update, Google can figure that out. So now that you have that baseline, that foundation, let's dive into some old school tactics that you're going to want to avoid. The first one here is over-optimized web pages. This relates to the Panda update. You don't really want to worry about keyword density. That if you do research into SEO, especially older articles, you'll learn about keyword density, and that's how many times your keyword is showing up on the page. And that's really an old school tactic. It's been around since the Alta Vista days. And while it's important to have your keyword on the page, you really want to focus more on writing naturally, having really good sales copy on your site to convert those visitors into leads and sales. You certainly don't want to be writing your pages for Google. You want to write them for your prospects and write naturally, and don't really worry about the keyword in the body copy of the page. If you set up your site correctly, you really shouldn't have to worry about this, and you should really focus more on just providing valuable information that Google would want to rank high in the search results. Second old school tactic you absolutely want to avoid is self-created links. I talked about this earlier. You don't want to buy links, so you may get approached by companies selling links to you. You want to avoid that because when Google figures out that you're paying for a link, they will remove the value of that link. So it'll ultimately be a waste of money if they do that. You also don't want to add any links from irrelevant websites. Let's say you have a car dealership. It doesn't really make sense to have a link from a beauty school, for example. Even though your sister runs the beauty school and she'll easily add a link to your site, it doesn't really make sense. It's not natural. When Google sees that you're getting links from irrelevant websites, that's just a red flag for them that you're probably doing something that's a little bit sketchy. The next point here is related to anchor text. Anchor text is the words that are hyperlinked. And I have an example here for a day spa. So let's say you own a day spa, you have a day spa website, and you have a link from another website where they linked the word day spa to your website. The anchor text of that link is the phrase day spa, and Google reads that and uses that in their algorithm to determine if you're relevant for a particular phrase. For example, if you had lots of links that say day spa, that's a signal for Google to say, hey, you're popular for that particular phrase. Now, I mentioned this before, businesses will take this to the extreme, and what they did back in the day, and unfortunately some are still doing it, they'll go out and basically create their own links with the same anchor text and try to use that to rank high for that keyword. And you want to avoid that. You want to absolutely have a natural variation of different anchor text, because if the majority of your links to your site are using the same exact anchor text, again, that's a red flag for Google. And ultimately, with getting links, you want to focus more on sharing content and naturally build up links, have valuable information on your site, rather than going out and just creating links and building links unnaturally. All right, third SEO tactic to avoid is unnecessary SEO pages, and this is related to the Hummingbird update. Back in the day, it was actually a good tactic to create different pages on your site for every single different variation of keywords. I have an example here again for a day spa. Let's say you find out people are searching day spa in NYC, and people are also searching NYC day spa. Well, again, back in the day, it would make sense. You could create a different page specifically targeting each of those different keywords. But now with the Hummingbird update, that's really not necessary, and that can actually get you into trouble if Google sees that you have a lot of similar pages targeting different variations of the same, essentially the same keyword. And I'll show you what can happen, because we started working with a client, and basically right when we started working with them, they got this alert. And that's because they set up a lot of different pages on their site, essentially using the same exact copy, same exact content, but trying to target different variations of keywords. And what happened was Google saw that and pretty quickly sent this alert. And it says Google has detected thin content on your site that provides little or no added value. And that's really the critical issue here, is that our client had created pages that don't add any value. They were just essentially copies of other pages. And when that's the case, Google does not want that. They don't want to be showing pages that don't have any value, because again, if people search and find those pages, that threatens Google's entire business. So what happened here was this client actually got a spam action, which hurt their rankings, and we had to clean that up for them. All right, here are some predictions based on where Google has been and where I think they will go. Pretty obvious prediction here that Google will continue to fight SEO spam. Again, that threatens their entire business. So you don't want to be doing anything like keyword stuffing, which is putting keywords into your pages unnaturally. You don't want to be getting unnatural links to your website or inbound links. And you certainly don't want to be creating unnecessary pages for very similar keywords. Now, if you're not aware of this, mobile is a huge growing trend. In fact, Google's index is going to change to what's called a mobile first index, and they claim that's going to happen in 2017. So they have about 6 months to go here to roll this out. And when that happens, Google's going to look at your mobile site to see if you deserve to rank high in the search results. They're going to check your mobile site first. That's what it means to be mobile first index. and then they'll check your desktop second. Whereas right now, and the way it has always been, is they check your desktop version first, and that's kind of the primary home base. Google is essentially going to flip that in the next 6 months, they're saying, and your home base will really be your mobile website. And I mentioned this earlier, I also predict social signals will become more important. That is certainly debatable, but Google is investing more and more into Google+, and it's hard to deny. There's a lot of studies out there that show correlation between social media activity and high rankings. There's no study and no proof that they are directly related, but you know, when so many people are sharing articles via social media, sharing pages, sites on social media, there are indirect benefits that you can't deny, those being more traffic to your site, as well as more exposure to those pages, which will then lead to more websites linking to your website. Ultimately, hopefully a key takeaway you've gotten from this is that SEO is not about tricking Google. It's really more about partnering with Google. And that's a common misconception I hear with a lot of businesses. They think SEO is just, you know, it's how can you trick Google to get your website to be #1. And that's certainly not the case. You want to partner with Google. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to find the information on your site, and make it really easy for them to know that you have the best information on a particular topic, so that they pick your page over the other inferior pages online. All right, with that out of the way, we'll dive into the 5 steps you now need to follow. And I call these the 5 R's. Each one will start with an R. That makes it easy to remember. First one is research. And specifically, I'm talking about keyword research. We need to figure out, what are people searching for when they're looking for your product or service. And the tool I recommend is Google's Keyword Planner tool. That is actually within Google AdWords. So you have to create a Google AdWords account, but you don't have to spend any money in Google AdWords to use the tool. So just create an account, and then you get access to it. But Google recently did tweak the tool. It's a little bit annoying. They won't show you the data if you're not spending enough money in Google AdWords. What they do is they show you ranges. So for a particular keyword, they'll say it's searched 700 to 1,000 times a month, rather than saying the actual number that they have, which might be 800 times per month. Now, with that said, it's still a tool I recommend as far as doing your keyword research to find the relevant keywords and to get a feel for the relative search volume. So even if they're just showing you ranges, you can still look at the relative search volume. A keyword might be showing 10 to 50 searches a month versus another keyword that's being searched, let's say 100 to 200 times a month. So you can still get that comparison, relatively speaking. So you want to focus on keywords that have the most search volume, but also have what's called buying intent. And the example I'm showing here, again, just sticking with the day spa example. So which keyword has more buying intent? Day spa in NYC versus best facial for acne. Hopefully that's obvious that there's more buying intent with day spa in NYC, because as far as a day spa is concerned, more people searching that keyword are looking to actually schedule an appointment at a day spa versus people just searching best facial for acne. That's more of a research intent keyword. So it's basically, it's less likely for someone to be searching best facial for acne and actually want to schedule an appointment with a day spa than it is if someone is searching day spa in NYC. Hopefully that is clear. The next question you want to answer here is just, do you deserve to be number one? That's an important question to answer. You want to do your keyword research, find the buying intent keywords, and then really just ask this question: do you deserve to be number one with the current pages on your website? You know, is there a page on your site that should rank high for that keyword? And if there's not, then there's probably some work to be done to improve those pages on your site. And that leads us to step number 2, which is relevance. And we're specifically talking about website relevance. This is really marketing 101. You want to match the message on your web page to the market or what that market is searching. And when you do your keyword research, you'll find a lot of keywords that are similar. And I already mentioned this, you don't have to create a different page on your site for very similar keywords. So what you want to do is group the similar keywords together and then pick just one page on your site that you're going to optimize and try to get to rank for that group of keywords. And you're probably wondering, what does it mean to optimize that page? Ultimately, it comes down to editing the page, and there are some key elements on a page that you want to edit. Most importantly is your title, and I put the HTML on the screen here. It's the less than sign, title, greater than sign. Everything in between that is what's called the title tag, or the title of the page, and that is a key element that Google looks at to know what your page is about and to see if it's relevant for the keyword that's being searched. So if someone is searching day spa in NYC and your title tag says day spa in NYC, that tells Google that you have an extremely relevant page for what is being searched. Next are your headers, and you can see some example HTML header code there, H1, H2, H3. Those are basically those break up the content on your page. So your H1, if you're writing a paper, if you remember doing this in college, you have a title for your paper, and then you might have some different sections with headers. That's kind of the same concept on your web page, where you've got your title, and then within the copy you have different headers that are breaking up the content, and those headers describe the different sections. Well, Google looks at those headers because they are obviously key elements of the page, and if you have variations of your keyword in the headers of the page, that's going to tell Google again that you are relevant for those keywords. And last but not least is body copy, and I can't emphasize this enough. If you are following best practices and you have one page that's targeting a group of very similar phrases, and you're optimizing the title, you're optimizing the headers, I actually recommend you don't worry about, really don't focus on getting the keyword in the body copy. Instead, write that body copy more for sales and trying to get that visitor to contact you. The reason for that is because if you do this correctly and you just have one very focused page for a group of very similar keywords, you're naturally going to be talking about and using that keyword on the page. So I actually recommend you don't think about SEO when you're doing the body copy. Just write for sales, or write it more informationally if it's more informational type page, and you will naturally include the keywords if you've structured your website correctly. And all this leads to the golden rule of relevance, which is to create a web page that you would actually want to find if you were the one searching for that keyword. And that requires taking a look at what's actually in the search results, see what's available, and then putting yourself in the prospect's shoes and think about what is it that you would actually want to find that would be better than what's already available. All right, third R is reputation. And reputation online comes down to what's called domain authority. So they're pretty much interchangeable there as far as reputation and domain authority. The number one factor here with your reputation or your domain authority is the quality and quantity of the links to your website. I mentioned this earlier. This is the core of Google's algorithm, and it's basically reputation by association. That means if you have lots of links from other high quality, high domain authority websites that have strong reputations, Google looks at that and basically says, okay, you're getting all these links from websites that I know, like, and trust. I'm going to know, like, and trust your website as well. A key takeaway here, I mentioned this previously, you want to focus on attracting those links, and you do that by having really good information, really good content on your site versus trying to buy links or create the links yourself. All right, I want to take a minute to dive into the two tactics that I promised. These are tactics to get ranked in as little as 30 days. And now that you know the first three steps, these will make sense. So this first tactic is called piggyback SEO. And what you can do is piggyback on other websites that have high reputations or high domain authority. And what you're going to do is publish content on those websites and put the keyword that you want to rank for in the title of that page. I'll show you an example. So here's an example highlighted in red. And at the top, you can see the keyword that was searched is how to create a Google AdWords campaign. And at the time when I searched this article here, Kissmetrics, was ranking number 3. That's an article that I wrote, and then I got that published on the Kissmetrics website. So that's obviously not our website. Our website's mainstreetroi.com. But if you go to that article and read it, I'm the author, and there are links to our website from that article. So the reason that's ranking so high is because Kissmetrics has a high domain authority, has a strong reputation. So we've taken care of that part of the equation. And then if you look at the title, it almost matches perfectly what was searched. So it's extremely relevant. The title says how to create a profitable Google AdWords campaign from scratch. And the keyword searched in this example is how to create a Google AdWords campaign. So Google says, hey, this is a highly relevant article, and it's on a website that has a high domain authority, strong reputation. Naturally, Google is going to rank that high in the search results. Next, just to show you that this works for different keywords as well, just at the top you see Google AdWords campaign is the keyword. That's what was searched. And again, the same article is ranking number 3, just under Google's websites. And that's because, excuse me, Google AdWords campaign, that's the keyword, that is also in the title. It's also in the URL, and it's in the it's mentioned a lot in the article. That's an example of piggyback SEO. And the next tactic here to get ranked very quickly is called local SEO. And this is important for any business that's looking for local customers, clients, patients. If you have a service area, then this works for you as well. It's any type of business where people are searching nearby to find your product or service, more likely a service. You can see some of the stats. 30% of mobile searches are local, 76% of mobile nearby searches visit a store, and then 28% of those searchers that searched nearby actually make a purchase. So this drives a lot of business. And what I'm talking about is, let's say someone searches dentist nearby, hardware store nearby. When you do that search, Google will show the map on the first page, and then underneath the map, they show business information, business name, address, and phone number. And then they show with those little pin drops where those businesses are located. So that's what I'm talking about with local SEO. It's really the same 3 steps with a little twist. You want to do your keyword research, and what you're doing is actually setting up a Google My Business profile. So there's you still want to optimize your website, but you also need to set up a Google My Business profile because that's what Google is showing in the map results. So you do keyword research, find the relevant keywords. You want to make sure you're targeting the right categories in your Google My Business profile. And then to build up your reputation for local SEO, you need something called citations, and you need online reviews. So everyone knows online reviews. Those are people going to your Google My Business profile and leaving you a review. And then citations are just mentions of your name, address, and phone number on other websites. Most commonly, these are going to be business directories that will list your name, address, and phone number. And if you have a lot of citations, that's basically proof to Google that you're a popular, established business. It also shows that all of your information is correct and gives them confidence to show you on the first page. And here's some proof that this can be very fast. This is from Barney. He wrote, about a month ago, I started going through the local SEO steps. I've noticed my Google rankings moving up, and right now I'm at the #1 position for my most important keyword in my area. I'm now receiving phone calls for my listing, and I just started working on a project that came in directly from Google Plus Local. And Google My Business was formerly known as Google Plus Local. So here's a quick recap. We've talked about 3 R's: research, relevance, reputation. We walked through 2 tactics to get ranked very quickly. And we have 2 more R's left. This 4th one is my favorite. This is revenue. And that's because the point of all of this is not to get ranked in Google. It's actually to generate revenue for your business. And if you want to generate revenue from SEO, there's 3 key factors. You need compelling website copy. Hopefully I've hammered that point that when you are writing the content on your page, you really want to focus on sales copy, not SEO copy. You need to have social proof. Most people, when they're searching online, are very skeptical. Unfortunately, there are fraudulent businesses out there that are ripping people off. So the more you can show as far as testimonials and proof that your product or service actually works, that's going to help you from a sales perspective. And then CTA just stands for call to action. You want to make sure you include some kind of call to action on your site to get people to take action. That might be to schedule an appointment, place a phone call, request a demo, whatever you want them to do, make sure that is very obvious. The second key factor is a lead magnet. That is very important because the majority of visitors are not going to be ready to buy when they visit your website. When you think about that, and this could be most likely 95 to 98% of your visitors are not going to actually contact you. What you want to do is have a lead magnet on your site, which is most likely a free report, a free guide. On our site, we have lots of free checklists. And the whole goal here is to get people to request some free information in exchange for an email address. And then you can use that email address to follow up with them via email marketing, which I saw a lot of folks on the line are using email marketing. So you use a lead magnet to get more emails, and then you use your email marketing to follow up with them and that's a great way to increase the conversion rate you're getting from your SEO. And lastly, this relates to keyword research. You need to be ranking high for keywords that your prospects are actually searching for. And finally, I urge you to track your return on investment. And the tool I recommend is Google Analytics. It's totally free. You just go to analytics.google.com, create an account, and then you have to add the code on your website, and then you start tracking your visits from SEO, from all of the organic search traffic. Excuse me. And then if you set up your goals properly, you'll also be able to track all of the leads that you're generating from your SEO. All right, fifth and final step here is SEO responsibility. Ultimately, we're asking the question, who is responsible for your SEO? And I want to make sure you realize that SEO is not a set it and forget it strategy. There is ongoing work to continually be building up your domain authority or your reputation. And I always recommend businesses first learn the basics of SEO before they delegate it. And that's really the goal of this presentation today, was to give you that strong foundation so you understand where SEO has been, the evolution of Google. You will now understand some of the key updates and SEO tactics that you want to avoid. And now you can use that to delegate either in-house or to a consultant or an agency. And this slide here, these are not my children. I just found this online. I just thought this was a great picture. And this should be your reaction when Google has their next Google update. Most people have the complete opposite reaction. They get scared and they worry about Google changing their algorithm. But the reality is you should be excited about Google updates, because when that happens, again, Google is making those updates to get rid of the websites that don't deserve to be number one. So when that happens, they'll do these updates, and a lot of those sites that don't deserve to be on the first page get kicked off the first page. And now there's opportunities and there's spots for you to, for your business to rank on the first page of Google. So that's really the key mindset here. Google updates are actually opportunities for you to move up in the rankings. I did promise a special offer. It's 3 step-by-step 90-minute video training courses. And you can, again, go to our site at mainstreetroi.com/training, and you'll see we sell these for $97 on our site. The first one is the complete SEO tune-up that walks through step-by-step everything you need to do on your site to get it optimized for Google. And that really covers the relevance step. The local SEO formula, also sold for $97. That is walking through how to rank your business in the local map results. So again, an example would be someone searching day spa nearby, dentist nearby, hardware store nearby, and you've got the map results. You want to make sure your business is showing on the map and ranking on the very first page, and that's what the local SEO formula walks through. And then to make sure you're tracking everything properly, we're including the introduction to SEO analytics. Again, that's sold for $97, and that walks through step-by-step how to set up Google Analytics, and then all the important reports to run to monitor your digital marketing. So altogether, if you were to buy those 3 separately, that would cost $291. But for attending today, we're actually going to give it to you for just $97. And the link to get that bundle is mainstreetroi.com/SEO bundle. And with that, I think we're on schedule. We've got 10 minutes for Q&A. You can see in the upper left-hand corner is the link to the special offer there. mainstreetroi.com/SEO bundle. And if you have questions, you can type those into the questions box of GoToWebinar. Again, that's in the upper right-hand corner, should be in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. I know Beth typed in and found that. I don't see any more questions coming in here. So if I don't get a question in the next minute, we'll wrap it up early. But if you do have questions, I am available for the next 10 minutes here. So fire away. If we do wrap it up early, I have a reminder here to please complete the brief survey at the end. So when I close the webinar, you should get automatically redirected to a survey, and it should be only a minute of your time to complete that survey and provide any feedback you have, and we use that feedback to improve these trainings. All right, I don't see any questions, so I must have been very clear in the presentation. Oh, here's one from Vicky. Let's see, if you are a sitelet, how can you use SEO for just your site? So Vicky, I'm not familiar with that word, sitelet. If you could just clarify what you mean by that. Or I can try to Google that quickly. Never actually heard of a sitelet. Oh, so Vicky's saying, if you are a sitelet and that's a page that's off of the corporate site. So Vicky, just to confirm, your site is part of the corporate site. It's on the domain of the corporate site. If that is the case, if you don't have your own domain, then unfortunately, you'd basically be doing SEO for the main corporate domain site, and you'd be building up the domain authority of that website. And all you would be able to do is edit the page, or if you have multiple pages on that domain, you could edit those pages, make them relevant for certain keywords that people would be searching for. And that would cover the relevance portion. And then, unfortunately, you're a little bit at a disadvantage because you don't have full control over your domain. With that said, if you're allowed to, I would certainly consider building your own site on a different domain. And that way, you'd be building up your own asset, because right now, if you wanted to use SEO, you're basically just building up the corporate domain. You're not building up your own separate asset. So I do recommend, if you are allowed to, buying your own domain, setting up your own website, and then optimizing that domain for your target keywords. And that way, over time, you'll build up your reputation. And again, that's going to be an asset over the long run. All right. Unless there is another question, I think we will wrap it up. So I want to thank Grasshopper for organizing this. And again, if you're interested in the SEO bundle, which is 3 training courses for the price of 1, you can get that at mainstreetroi.com/SEO bundle. And once I do close this, please complete the brief survey at the end. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Thursday and have a great weekend. Take care.